everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Talking with Our Traders, a Caesars Sportsbook original series. This is where we sit down with our very own Caesars Sportsbook traders and dive deep into everything: odds, betting, trends, insights, and overall opinions. So let's dive right in because it's playoffs, baby. I'm your host, Cindy Edwards, and with me today, as always, is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesars Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
All right, guys, let's dive into some college football. Joey, how will the upcoming game results affect the lines in the championship game?
Well, we saw this in action last week. Ohio State demolished Oregon.
Yeah.
And Texas got away with a win against Arizona State with almost a disastrous second half collapse. There's going to be recency bias when we adjust these lines going out with the following round. So going into that game, I probably had Ohio State probably 3.5 against Texas. We opened up at 4.5, moved all the way up to 6, and it's only been one-sided action thus far. So people are going to remember that last game. On both sides of this, I think it adds Ohio State really beating two very good teams, looking unstoppable, and Texas struggling and maybe a targeting call away from a loss against Arizona State. So if we look into this next round, I think it's going to be more focused on the Ohio State-Texas game outcome than the Notre Dame Penn State. I think that everybody's going in seeing Notre Dame, Penn State having kind of an asterisk that they're not really that good. So if either one of them beat each other, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If Texas is able to beat Ohio State heavily, you'll see Texas getting a bump of that, and vice versa. If Ohio State beats Texas handily, you'll see them getting a bigger bump as well. So that's good. It's going to make a difference week in, week out, and sometimes it overreacts. We saw it. When we opened, it was all the way up to 6, came down to 5.5. It's back to 6, but it's been a one-way street on action on Ohio State thus far.
Yeah, and we already have the lookup games ready for the potential matchup.
Right.
So Ohio State minus 7.5 against Notre Dame, minus 8.5 against Penn, which suggests because the games pick them anyway between Notre Dame and Penn, so you'd expect that pretty much the same. Texas minus 4 versus Penn State, and Texas minus 2.5 versus Notre Dame. Texas are fortunate to be in because they should have been targeting, should have been called.
Right.
You don't want the referees deciding games like that, but it was clear targeting. That's called 100 out of 100 times elsewhere. A fortunate 4th and 13 in the first OT.
Yeah. Wild.
Yeah, it's a
Very
monumental
wild.
collapse, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't expect that from a Texas team, especially when they're two easier games to lead into. Yeah, we'll see. Be interesting. I think obviously the Ohio State and Texas are 1 and 2 in the betting now on the outrights, as they would be favourites in the final. So that's probably more the national championship game, even though interesting.
Right.
None of the top 4 seeds are in.
Yeah, just like that.
Very interesting. Okay, let's move on to some game previews. Let's start with the Orange Bowl, Notre Dame versus Penn State. Tonight, these two teams will go head-to-head for a spot in the College Football National Championship. And weird enough, these programs are deadlocked in all-time matchups. The series is tied 9-1. Joey, what should we expect from this one?
Well, one of these teams are going to be competing in the national championship, and like Craig alluded, they're going to be the underdog in that game.
Yeah.
Both these teams have had beneficial paths to get where they're at now, and both are programs that tend to disappoint their fan base a lot. Both these teams are very close in power ratings. We're seeing Notre Dame getting the slight edge at 1-point favorites at this point. I think Notre Dame got a little bit of a bump compared to last week because they did take down the SEC champs with Georgia. It did prove maybe that quarterback was a bigger deal with them missing Carson Beck, but even then, I don't think Notre Dame really dominated that game. They had a couple lucky swings that went their way, and the box score was deceiving. We've seen some movement to the under in this matchup, opening up at 47 down to 44.5. I agree with this move. It's likely going to be a defensive matchup, a Craig Mucklow type game, if you will. So I don't really lean aside here. I think it's pretty evenly matched. If anything, I like the under, but yeah, it should be a good game.
Not a lot of weather. It's in Miami, so 8 mile an hour winds, balmy 59, and 0% chance of rain. Obviously, the scheduling gods knew Miami wouldn't be in the playoffs, so that's why they booked it this weekend.
Of course.
I've complained about Penn State's soft schedule all year. They got SMU and Boise in the first two rounds. You say they're 9-1 head-to-head, but Penn State are actually 4-1 in Orange Bowls. So if you're a Penn State fan, you've got that little bit thing to hang on to.
Exactly.
Notre Dame are the better team for me. Tougher schedule, better all-round team. The one thing, Notre Dame get 1 day less rest because of what happened in New Orleans, unfortunately. The strengths, Penn is stopping the run. Notre Dame's strength is running the ball. I thought the Georgia line was completely wrong, and how wrong was I? And I think this one's completely wrong. I think Notre Dame, this one's over by halftime.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Cotton Bowl. Ohio State versus Texas. The Longhorns battle the Buckeyes with a trip to the college football playoff national championship on the line. Joey, break it down for us.
Yeah, Ohio State had a very impressive Rose Bowl, absolutely embarrassed the number one team of the land and enacted their revenge. Texas, on the other hand, again, got away with one. They got the non-call targeting and somehow getting a 4th and 13, which does not happen. As a result, we saw the significant line change like we saw. With look ahead was 3.5. Now we're at 6. Is it reactionary? Yeah, likely. But Ohio State hasn't showed us anything different that this game will be more competitive. And like I said, we've seen a vast majority of Buckeye action, both on this game and in the futures. I'm not really trusting Quinn Ewers and the Longhorns in this spot as they kind of stole that win. But this is college football. Anything can happen. So, again, not really a side I like. If there's anything I'm going to lean to, it's the over. But that's just from the powerful Ohio State offense. That's going to really being the strength of this team thus far.
Craig, do you have a side that you like?
Not really. Did they steal against Arizona State? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, Arizona State gifted them the points at the start in the first 3 drives. What did they have, like 3 or 4 plays? That was it. And they put 19 points up. The better teams wouldn't have given Texas that chance and would have put them away. And Arizona had enough chances. So they just couldn't score when they had the ball in the red zone.
Yeah.
Field goals don't win these games.
No.
Right.
The problem is I stopped watching at the end of the first quarter of the Rose Bowl because that was just...
It was over.
It was over. And it was over because you two had the over as well. So it was double over.
Double over.
I just think the strength of quality that Ohio State have played against probably leans more to me favouring them. It's a big number to cover, but then as we've seen with all these games, there's only been one competitive game, and that's it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we get a couple of competitive games.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move into NFL. We have Wildcard weekend. Guys, how does home field affect betting lines heading into the weekend? And are some home fields more impactful than others? I can only assume yes.
Yeah, it is. The home field, we have yet to see kind of the huge impact in home field advantage since COVID happened. I don't know what happened there. I mean, obviously we know the COVID year, there's no fans and stuff like that, but it used to be closer to like a 2.5 point advantage. Now it's leaning to 1.5 for the past couple of years. Team-based, it'll make a difference. Obviously, if you're a dome warm weather team and you're traveling to the cold, that's going to be a bigger difference. And even vice versa. If you're a cold team coming into a dome where you're playing a dome team, that dome team is built like a dome team. And then you have like the Rams don't really have that great a home field advantage usually because they don't got that many fans. They got me, and I'm not traveling to those games.
Right.
But yeah, you're going to see the bigger difference, especially like we saw last year with the Dolphins traveling to the Chiefs. That game was over. Craig knew it. We all knew what was going to happen. Maybe I didn't, but Craig definitely did. So yeah, definitely home field is becoming less and less. I think traveling is getting better. Obviously, we're in 2025. People traveling is much better. But it's not as much as it once was.
This year I've got it at 1.75 points across the board. Given the playoffs, I adjust this up slightly by 3/4 of a point, so I get it to 2.5, which is historically it was always around 3. 3 teams for me: Buffalo, Philadelphia, Baltimore. Those are the top 3 in home field advantage this year, but in the wild card anyway. Followed by Bucks, Texans, Rams in that order. Weather, big factor, and also the travel is going to be accounted for as well. Denver's going pretty much West Coast, East Coast. So you've got to look at those things as well. Although, yes, not everybody's flying economy anymore, right? But it still has an impact.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense to me. Craig, do playoff games tend to have higher or lower game totals?
So if you look at the market, you would believe so, because you do see an adjustment down. And the Ravens Steelers, when we get to it, will be proof to that point. But in the last 10 years, barely a difference. So the last 10 years pre-game totals, 46.3 versus 46.5. Not that much.
Yeah.
But it depends what the matchups are as well. Now you get into January as well. Weather does play a part in the thing. So people think you're in the playoffs. It's a tighter game.
Right.
And you play not to, you ball control, kill the clock. But then remember, the team that's losing, their season's on the line. So they'll try anything. So then you're opening yourselves up for defensive touchdowns and just all sorts of nonsense. So, yeah, the answer is no.
All right.
Yeah, total since 2018, 64 overs, 82 unders. So it is going unders, and that's probably also market's kind of going to lean towards that side as well. And yeah, that's the thought process is that coaches are going to play more conservatively. They're not going to take the chances. There's so many times where you got this one game and you got to win it, and you don't want to make a mistake. And that's really what the good teams do. Why the Chiefs don't make mistakes. They are where they are. So yeah, that's where the kind of thought process is that coach is going to be a little more conservative. I don't know if Dan Campbell got that note,
right?
But every other coach, that's the general thought is they're going to come in more conservative.
He got the note and he threw it straight in the trash can.
Yeah, he does not care. What matchup are you most excited for this weekend, Joey?
Obviously, I'm a Rams fan,
right?
So I'm looking forward to Rams-Vikings. I wanted the Rams to play the Lions so bad, so I want Dan Campbell and Jared Goff to go down. Just being that Rams fan, it's a new heightened rivalry now, but I guess we're going to have to wait another week for that. So that's the game I'm most looking forward to.
Craig?
I had the same one. 14-win team on the road as a 1-point favorite. And I have a soft spot for the Rams, not because I like Joey, because I don't. My first year at Caesars, the Rams-Bengals was the Super Bowl, and it landed 3. It was a great result for us. So I have a soft spot, and I gave Joey a hug that night when he was crying his eyes out when they won the Super Bowl.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Time to go home and celebrate.
All right. Well, what is your Super Bowl prediction now that all the teams are in?
Eagles beating the Bills.
Eagles beating the Bills.
What price are the Eagles now?
Low.
Okay. And we picked them at 16s in the preseason. We've already got that ticket.
Yeah.
So I went a different route.
Okay.
And if you look on the Super Bowl exactas on the Caesar Sportsbook, it's there, and it's 55-1. Ravens over Packers in that order.
Wow. All right. I'm going Lions over Bills, so we will see.
I thought he was the chalk king.
I know it's chalk, but it's what I feel in my heart, and, gotta go with it. Take us through the bracket then.
All right, so AFC side, I got the Chargers beating the Texans. Bills-Ravens going to get it done. They're big favorites. We all know it's going to happen.
Right.
Bills beat the Ravens, and Chargers beat the Chiefs. Bills beat the Chargers in the AFC Championship asterisk. They did not have to play the Chiefs, so that's going to hurt them going into the Super Bowl. NFC side, Eagles take care of the Packers. Bucks beat Commanders for them to face off. And Rams beating Vikings, which guess what that means? Rams taking on the Lions. Eagles beat the Bucks for revenge from last year. And the Rams enact their revenge, beating Campbell and Goff. See ya, Ben Johnson. It's back to being the same old Lions next year without their boy genius coach. NFC Championship, Eagles-Rams. Eagles get it done and beat the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Wow, that was...
Did you write that down?
Yeah, that was perfectly
down,
executed there. Craig, would you like to follow that?
Would I like to, or can I? That's
yeah, I mean, give it a shot.
No is the answer. I'll give it a shot. Okay. I didn't go into this in depth. My biggest concerns are you're playing a divisional opponent in each round whenever you get to that because you've got familiarity.
Yeah.
I can smell an upset if the Chiefs get the Chargers or the Broncos. Outside of that, I see a Ravens-Chiefs AFC title game, and then there's revenge there. I just think Baltimore's the better team in the AFC.
Yeah.
NFC comes down to Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. As much as I love the Eagles, and I think they could go far, they've got to win this weekend with Hurts, and he's got to play, and he's not got to get hurt again. Other than that, I see the Packers, and then you get Detroit in a divisional matchup, and then familiarity again. That's why I went Ravens-Packers. I think there could be a couple of upsets with divisional matchups because you just know each other.
Right. I hope so. I love an upset. Okay, favorite wildcard game for the total to go under. Craig, it is news to no one that you love an under, so start us off.
Washington, Tampa under.
Ooh.
Rookie quarterback in the playoffs. The Bucks, 3 wildcard games at home in the last 10 years, all went under, even with a certain quarterback.
Tom Brady, the greatest ever. Is that who you're talking about?
Second greatest ever behind Dan Marino.
All right. Okay.
But yeah, that's the one I like the most. I did lean towards the Bills Broncos for the same reason, and then I looked at the date and I was like, yeah, let's get off that one.
Joey?
Chargers Texans under 42.5. It's a Harbaugh game. I think the Texans offense especially are on fumes. Defense still has some question marks, but I think if Harbaugh wants to play his game, he's holding on that football. He's not letting it go.
There's a very good argument for that. I did look at that one. Unders are 20, 27, and 1 in the wild card.
Okay.
Last 10 years.
Well, let's flip it. Favorite wild card game for the total to go over. Joey, who do you have?
Bread and butter every week. Ravens, Steelers over 43.5. Ravens can cover this by themselves.
Easy.
The man said it. The last 10 years, divisional wildcard games, 8-3 to the over. That's teams playing each other in the same division. The Steelers-Ravens, it was in my notes earlier, game 1, that was a 48.5 point total, went under. Game 2 was a 44.5 point total, flew over. Ravens pretty much covered it themselves. Now this number's 43.5. Only because people think, and we'll probably cover it later, the Steelers' offenses take regression.
Yeah.
They've played good teams. So, yeah, I agree with Joey.
All right. Favorite wild card team to cover the spread?
The Bucks -3. I think the Bucks have been playing very good ball, especially offensively. Obviously, Mike Evans trying to get the record last game, but I think just Baker's just slinging it out there.
Baker's bacon.
I think the Commanders are fake. I think Kingsbury blows it. I think Jaden Daniels blows it. I don't think that's the end of their saga, but I think it's that, Lamar had that first loss and then he kind of built up to where he is today. So I think it starts there. So I like the Bucks -3.
To be fair, you guys have both been pretty adamant about the Commanders maybe looking better than they actually are.
Their schedule was easier than what they are.
Okay.
And, again, there was a lot of bad teams this year. And so, but now we're in playoffs. So if we're going to look at just that individual matchup, I think the Bucks are the superior team.
Yeah. Craig, favorite wild card team to cover the spread?
I am Lamar Jackson's #1 fanboy.
Ooh.
And you have been.
That's a heavy spread.
For years. However, given his playoff record, a divisional opponent that's beat you once already, it's the biggest number on the board. I'm taking the Steelers.
I don't hate it.
I like it.
Last 10 years, the dog is 8-3 in these divisional matchups in the wild card. So give me the points.
All right. Will there be an upset during wild card weekend?
Yes, there will.
Okay. You said that pretty fast, so tell me who you got.
Joey will be upset, as will the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I'll be pretty upset. Well, maybe I won't be.
I was talking about your Rams.
My Rams, the two I have. It's only a 1-point spread at the moment, but I do think this is a nightmare matchup for the Vikings, and we saw this. They played earlier in the year, and I don't think Sam Darnold's not big enough for the spot.
Here's one for you.
Yeah, he looked bad last week.
The game was over. If Green Bay win the coin toss on Sunday, they play. Yeah. If they win the coin toss, they take the ball like they did with Dallas last year.
Okay.
Brave.
Yeah. And they
right.
took it to Dallas straight out the gate.
Yeah.
And that game was
Put
over
a statement,
quick.
and that game was over real quick.
Yeah.
And there's too many questions with Philadelphia's quarterback.
All right. Build your 3-leg anytime touchdown score parlay. Guys, I have a good feeling about this week. Craig, what do you have?
Can Joey Two Chalk go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. It's over 20.
What's a Joey
Shots
Two Chalk?
fired.
I tried with the chalk last week. Mike Evans going to get in. Lad McConkey for the Chargers. Easy. Lamar Jackson, the king. Easy. Bo Nix to get it in his rookie debut in playoffs. I like that one. 24-1 on site.
I like that one.
When the Ravens D scored first last week,
Yeah.
I thought finally
This is
we're going to
happening.
hit it.
I thought so too.
And everybody on Denver scored bar the defense last
I know.
week. So, okay. All right. So 2 out of 3 again, plus money. Mine pays 70-1.
Ooh.
I'm desperate now.
Yeah.
19 weeks in, I've got to get a winner. So we'll start low. Mark Andrews, Baltimore.
I like it.
Bills defense, special teams, rookie quarterback
Yeah, okay.
in Buffalo. I can see that happening. That's 5-1. And Baker Mayfield is going to teach the rookie a lesson and give it large with the belt or something like that, like they do.
Yeah.
So Baker Mayfield.
There you go.
All right. Well, if any of you guys at home like either of these 3-leg anytime touchdown scorer parlays, you can tail them on the Caesar Sportsbook app. Guys, are you guys ready for some overreaction or not?
Ready.
Playoff edition.
Playoff edition, okay.
Overreaction or not, the Steelers should start Justin Fields in the playoffs.
Overreaction. It's going to be the same result. Team's toast.
Ooh. Mic drop from Joey.
Sure, Robbie will be excited.
Craig?
There's a few Steelers fans and a few Ravens fans in this building, so watching them go head-to-head this weekend will be fun.
Exciting.
Round 3. You've got to go with the experience. It's an overreaction. Regardless, you're going against a quality opponent. The offense has stuttered, yes. But the offense stuttered as well with Justin Fields.
Yeah.
There's an argument because of the teams that Steelers have played and in bad weather a couple of the games. Do I think the cooker gets turned off pretty quick if they're faltering again? Yes. Justin Fields will see some action this week. But you've got to go with the experience.
All right.
No offense to Justin Fields, but...
Yeah. Makes sense.
Overreaction or not, the Chiefs were scared to see the Bengals in the playoffs.
Not an overreaction. They laid down like a cat. They didn't want any part of those Bengals. Maybe they would have preferred the Dolphins, but the Dolphins couldn't get there regardless. But yeah, I think that the effort output in that game was minimal at best.
Craig?
As a former professional athlete
Yeah.
and a 2-time champion
Of darts, everyone.
in the London League, yeah, with back-to-back years. I didn't three-peat because I moved countries. I don't care who I play. If I'm good enough, I'll beat anybody. Mm-hmm. Did they lie down and make sure that Cincinnati or Miami never got in? Cincinnati still needed Miami to lay an egg, which we knew they would. No, they wanted to avoid them. But then Cincinnati go Buffalo and you're knocking out another quality team. So, you've got to think better than this. You get a familiar divisional opponent. Maybe not the best thing because Denver should have beat Kansas the week before they played Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Tough one. Do I believe what was said last night on another podcast where, we don't care, we'll take anybody?
That's what I was going to say.
I've seen your stats this year, mate. Forget it.
Travis Kelce saying that is the biggest evidence for me that they were scared of the Bengals. Because that was just overkill.
You're trying to make history and being the first team ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Okay? If I'm the coach or I'm a player, I want the easiest route possible. Like when I used to play darts in the competition, I'd look for the draw. They're more worried about who they're playing as opposed to me worried about who I'm playing. So you shouldn't be worried. You've won it back-to-back years. You should be able to take care of this opposition.
Yeah. No.
And you've got to play in Kansas City because you've got the 1 seed. So what are you worried about?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was the Chiefs, I'd be a little worried of the Bengals too. I'm not going to lie. Overreaction or not, Mike Tomlin's job is in jeopardy if the Steelers lose in the first round.
Overreaction. I don't think that he's earned his stripes. Again, there was very minimal expectations going into this year for the
Very
Steelers.
little.
We talked about this before, but again, we said Tomlin will get it done, and guess what? He got it done again. I heard there's been a lot of coach trade rumors. I don't know where that's coming from. The Bears want to trade for anybody, I guess, at this point. But yeah, I think it's an overreaction.
Craig, do you agree?
Yeah, huge overreaction. Tomlin's got enough credit in the bank in Pittsburgh. They're always a contender every year. Even when I say no, they're going to have the worst record in the league this year.
They find a way?
He'll find a way. I love Tomlin as a coach. I think he's one of the best coaches of all time.
Yeah.
Would I have liked him in Miami a few years ago when the rumor was? Perfect, yeah. But no, overreaction. The guy's just a great coach. The team, he has the locker room. The players respect him. He knows what he's doing.
League-wide love him.
Yes.
Like, there's no one ever says anything bad about Mike Tomlin.
They find a way in the regular season, though. They haven't won a playoff game since 2016.
You're not going to win it with Justin Fields behind center either.
All right, shots fired. Overreaction or not, this is the last dance for the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not even sure what that means. So.
Well, they don't play this weekend, so they got another dance.
I I don't think it discontinues. I think they just have a really good core system. Everybody thought when Tyreek was gone that it's over, and then they shifted to being really good on defense. I think it's as long as they want to hold it. So, I, as much as I'd like to say, yeah, this is the last dance, they're not going away anytime soon.
Well, Andy Reid is there, and Patrick Mahomes is there, and Sarkisian, what's his name? The defensive coordinator?
Spagnuolo.
While the crux of the team is there, they're fine. It might be the last dance for a certain tight end because that tour's finished, so you won't see him dancing every weekend in the stadium.
All right, fair. Let's get into some game previews for Wildcard Weekend. We have Chargers versus Texans. Jim Harbaugh's first year as coach of the Chargers, and he has led the team to the playoffs. Joey, what should we expect from this matchup?
So Chargers come in, they hit the 5-seed lottery last week, traveling to Houston when it could be Houston's weakest part of the season. They started out pretty well. They go down Stephon Diggs. They go down Tank Dell. And that's shown to be a massive hole in this team when you just have Nico Collins out there. They also have a large list of question marks, both the offense and the defense injury list. Line opened up Chargers -3, and it stayed there. Leaning a little back to 2.5, but I think it's going to stay at 3 as we get to kickoff. It is Jim Harbaugh in the playoffs. He's 5-3 in the NFL playoffs when he coached the Niners. And it seems like Chargers are likely the right side in this matchup, but I think it's going to be a close game, just how these two teams are going to play. And we saw Texans last year; no one expected much, and they got it done. So maybe they have a few tricks up their sleeve.
I like it, Craig.
Chargers -3, 42.5 on the total. I have Chargers -4 and 41, so I do lean with Joey's under. Both these teams are at the lower end of offensive pace, which is a conversation we'll be having at 1 o'clock, which suggests a low-scoring game. Last 10 years, wildcard games, 9 road favourites. They win, but do not cover is the rule. Straight up, they are 6-3, and against the spread, 3-6. Everybody wanted Houston. Pittsburgh couldn't get it done. Chargers win the lottery of getting probably the easiest game in the wildcard round.
Right.
I can't see any other result than the Chargers.
Yeah.
All right. Steelers-Ravens, they meet again, round 3. They each have a win over each other this season. Craig, I'm going to give this to what did you call yourself? Lamar Jackson's number 1 fanboy?
Yeah.
Start us off.
Yeah, he's great. 32 degrees, nice and chilly, 3-mile-an-hour wind and no rain. Line's 9.5 Ravens, 43.5 total. I've got it at 9.5, but I have a higher total at 47, which is completely different to the market. Big home favourites of a touchdown or bigger, 10-3 straight up the last 10 years, 7-6 against the spread, hence I kind of like Pittsburgh. The Steelers are coming off a brutal 4-game run. The offense was poor, but the opposition was marquee. Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. You're playing playoff teams. The teams that are in the playoffs. Like the Ravens had to win the division. Eagles had to win the division. Chiefs had already got the 1 seed pretty much wrapped up, but they still needed a win. And the Bengals playing for their playoff lives. And 3 of those games were in a 10-day span. I do think this is an overreaction on the market, dropping all the way down. These teams can put up points. It's a divisional matchup. They know each other. They know their weaknesses. I love the over big time.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the market just ticked down because it is the cold weather. Zay Flowers hurt, so they think that the Ravens are going to run the ball more. And what do the Steelers do? Are they okay at? They're good at stopping the run, except when it's Derrick Henry. But this is the third matchup, 1-1 this season. Everything went the Steelers' way in the first matchup.
Oh yeah,
not so much in the second matchup.
No.
So. It was Ravens 9.5. It got away up to 10 at this point, coming down a little bit, and that goes along with the total. Again, the Steelers really good against bad teams, not so much against good teams as we've seen recently. So Ravens could win by $1 billion, but again, division rival. I'm going to lean with the Steelers finding a way to cover this number.
All right. Okay, next up we have Broncos versus Bills. A rookie quarterback is making his playoff debut in a very welcoming climate and atmosphere of Buffalo. Joey, what should we expect from this matchup?
Yeah, rookie QB versus the MVP. What could go wrong? It's the reason we're seeing the line as high as it is. Opened up 8, it's all the way up to 9. I am interested in this matchup because it's a good Broncos defense versus a very quality Bills offense. Going to be cold, but Denver's also a cold weather team. They're not unfamiliar with going outside and it being freezing every day, so I don't think that makes that huge of a difference. I think the Broncos can hang around this game, but again, it's coming down to on Bo Nix. Do I think he's going to score a touchdown? Yes. Do I want to see them compete? Yes, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to because this Josh Allen Bills team has looked very good the past month.
Right.
Did he just say good Broncos?
Yeah, I saw you
couldn't get my
shaking
free
your
teamer
head.
in last week against a bunch of backups. Wind chill 23 degrees, nice and cold. 8 mile an hour winds, 10% chance of rain. I had the number exactly where the market is, 8.5 Buffalo, 47.5. Bills are 4-0 straight up last 10 years was the home wild card. 3-0-1 to the over, which initially when I first started looking, I think that's the under for me because I can't see the Broncos scoring.
Yeah.
And then I looked at Buffalo's day and I get off that one. Rookie quarterback in the very friendly confines of Orchard Park, New York. Lovely. Everyone thinks Denver's defensive top class. I fell for that as well last week. However, against elite quarterbacks, that isn't the case. 7 of their 9 wins were against teams with losing records. The 8th win was against the Chiefs practice squad, and the only one win they have is against the Bucs early in the season. I don't think Denver are that good. But this is Josh Allen's time to prove it. You're the MVP, and whatever you do, the road it goes through Kansas or Baltimore regardless.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you got to beat
All
one of
right.
those teams.
Well, you brought facts. Next up, Packers versus Eagles. Eagles quarterback questions. And Packers are an underdog favorite for you guys this season. What should we expect, Craig?
34 degrees, 7 mile an hour wind, no rain. The line is 4.5 Philly. I have it 1.5. And it's probably around the question marks of Jalen Hurts. The total I'm bang on 45.5. This all revolves around his availability. I saw he cleared first 3 stages of concussion protocol yesterday. He's still got 2 more stages to clear. And he hasn't played in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Yeah.
Might be some rust.
Maybe. Because he hasn't been able to, he's not allowed to practice.
Right.
Philly have proven that they can still compete even with backup quarterback. Their strength is the running back. They've got great talent. You stop the running back, you throw the ball to the 2 quality wide receivers. I just have visions of watching Green Bay last year, winning the coin toss, taking it straight to Dallas. I think if that happens again, if Green Bay win the coin toss, I love Green Bay first half.
Yeah, 2 quarterbacks that aren't 100% healthy.
No.
I mean, last week we saw Jordan Love. They downplayed the injury and said he could have gone back in. Well, he didn't. And then, you still got to get Hurts out of the protocol. Eagles still looking good without Hurts. Granted, that's who they're playing competition-wise, but it didn't absolutely break down and just at least on the field and running the ball. We saw Saquon forego trying to break the record because he wants to win the Super Bowl. I think this Eagles team is absolutely motivated in this one. My numbers, again, were a little less. I had Eagles 3 compared to 1 or even 4.5. I think it's up to 5 at this point.
That's too much.
It is a lot of points. But I don't want to bet against the Eagles. I don't want any part against having a ticket against the Eagles in this one. I think they are the class of the NFC right now, not the Lions.
All right. Mic drop again. Next up, Commanders versus Buccaneers. These teams played in week 1 where the Bucs were victorious. Joey, will this matchup have the same result?
Yes, I think it is. I mean, obviously that's a different story because that was Jaden's first game, and now we're at his 19th game, right? 18th game. This is the highest total on the board, and for good reason. I think the Bucs defense is poor. The Commanders defense is poor. Bucs have been slinging it. Baker Mayfield's been slinging it, and really improving this past month, taking advantage of that late Falcons slide to win the division and get where they can compete. Jaden Daniels did prove that he should have been drafted where he was, maybe even drafted number 1. I don't think his success would happen on the Bears. I don't think anybody's would. The Bears stink.
Agreed.
But it's paid dividends thus far. I really do like the Bucs, though, in this matchup. I think they have the offensive ability to not let the Commanders back in this game, even when they have a poor defense. Give me the Bucs.
All right, Craig. Agree, disagree?
I make the Bucks -4, so slightly agree against the market. The total I have at 51. Do I think it goes over? I don't think so. All 3 home games, as I said earlier, have gone under for the Bucks the last 10 years. The Commanders had the second easiest schedule. Rookie quarterback. They got 1 win versus a playoff team, which was Philadelphia, when Hurts got injured. And I think Pickett got injured as well in the game. And it took a miracle Jaden Daniels come back at the end.
Right.
Now, that would be 2 this year. The Bears and this one. Did they get in the playoffs with 8 wins? Maybe not.
Probably not.
Yeah. So, interesting. Seeing a rookie in the playoffs, it'll be a test for them. Baker's been there before. I do think Baker sticks it to the rookie. That's why I put him in the touchdown scorer. The Cinderella story ends, but I think Washington hugely overperformed this year, and credit to them. And they had some great moments. I mean, that Bears Hail Mary
unbelievable.
was just nuts.
Yeah.
Did we want it? No. We wanted the defense to show up.
One of the best moments of the season, for sure. Okay, guys, let's move on to our game picks of the week. Craig, give us a breakdown of where we currently stand.
All right, you're 2.5 points away from wrapping it up, and I'm buying everybody dinner, including salad. Cindy, 21, Joey, 21, I'm on 15.
All right, okay.
So now I'm
you're
gonna get
saying
tactical.
anyone has
on my
a chance.
way back,
Yeah. Okay, well, start us off, Craig.
Why do I have to?
Okay, Joey, start us off.
I'll start us off.
Yeah, why not?
And, Craig always loves when I'm on the chalk side. So let's give him
Joey
that.
too chalk
God.
again.
Too chalk again. Ohio State, Texas over 53. It's the only angle I like of these college football playoffs. This number is close, and I maybe there's value in Texas, but I don't want any part of that. So give me the over in that game, over 53. Give me the Bucks. I've talked about it multiple times. Bucks -3 to cover.
Ooh. I guess I'm up next. So sorry, Joey, but it is what it is. For college, I'm going Penn State, and then for NFL, I have the Bucks.
All right.
Yeah, so there we are. It's all riding on college football. Craig?
All right, Green Bay +3 first half. I've no real conviction on any of the totals this week. So I'll take Green Bay plus the points first half. I went and asked the 2 geniuses that helped me all year with the college. That's why I'm 6 points back.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe ask someone else.
They love Penn State,
Just kidding.
so I'm going Notre Dame.
Oh. All right, good for me, good for me. Okay.
There we go.
All right. Well, that is a wrap for this week's episode. Everyone, please enjoy the semifinal college football games and wildcard weekend. Guys, anything you'd like to say before we end this episode?
No, good luck this weekend. This is the final month of football, month and a half.
Yep.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yep.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.